Where? Going to France.
Move it up close.
Good evening. I'm Heidi Shum, the Executive Director of the World Affairs Council of Washington, and I want to welcome you here on behalf of the Council to this lovely residence. And we are deeply grateful for the hospitality of His Excellency, the Ambassador of France, David Levit, and Madame Levit, who is with us here tonight. The ambassador was called back to Paris to serve as the diplomatic counselor to the new president. But we're very fortunate this evening to have with us the Deputy Chief of Mission here in France, Ambassador Francois Levasseur. And he will be making a few comments in just a minute. The bonds of friendship between the United States and France have been close, multifaceted, and secure since the 13 English colonies decided to make a go of it on their own 2 1/3 centuries ago. From Lafayette to the Louisiana Purchase, and from the Statue of Liberty to D-Day, and from Brigitte Bardot to Disneyland, the two peoples share much, and I hope will continue to do so through political situations thick and thin. Tonight we are honored to be here, and His Excellency Ambassador Levasseur has agreed to talk. Prior to coming to Washington in November of 2006, the ambassador served as France's permanent representative to the Conference on Disarmament between 2003 and 2006. And between 1998 and 2003, he was the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Paris. He's been directly involved with such issues as nuclear non-proliferation, the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, and France's efforts to diffuse tensions over Iran's nuclear program. And perhaps he will touch on some of those this evening, and hopefully also some comments about the recent election in France. Please join me in welcoming Madame Levit and also Ambassador. I should also just say that Madame Levit has agreed to give a tour of the residence after the comments are over this evening.
Thank you. Welcome in the French house here. You are very impressive crowd, and I wanted to thank and express my appreciation to the World Affairs Council, because really it's a very distinguished guest that we have tonight. We are very happy of that. It is a bit of a challenge always to try to characterize French-American relations. They are very old, as you know, older than sometimes we imagine. The birth of a French nation is usually dated, the consolidation of the French nation is usually dated with the Edict of Villers-Cotterêts, which makes French mandatory on the whole of the French territory. It's in the 16th century, at the end of the 16th century. It coincides with the discovery of a North American continent by France and the beginning of the settling there. So since our nation exists, we have had North America in sight, and obviously in the United States, even if our relation with Canada is a bit specific also, in the United States, there's a lot of remembering of in the names of people, in the name of places, of French links, not only in Louisiana, but also in all the north part of the United States. And in France also we have many sites of relation to the United States. And for the kids, my kids, for example, when we travel through the countryside and we see these cemeteries with little white crosses, we know that these are American cemeteries, which testify also that relations have been both ways through the Atlantic, and we remember all what we owe to the United States during the two World Wars. This is a long relationship, and since the Second World War, you know that each time that there was a direct threat to the US in the Cuba crisis, as well as in 9/11 and many other opportunities, a direct crisis which did affect directly the security of our two countries, we have always been together. And what is more important, in history, we have never been at war, and each time that we have fought together, we have prevailed. If I may say, it's not very modest, but it's a reality. And usually with a bridge also on our side. Nevertheless, it's something which is worth remembering because it forges ties. And these ties, here we are here to illustrate new steps and new progresses in the deepening of our relation. And I would just like to illustrate it by three hard facts, as we know. From a military point of view, France is making a lot of efforts to prove it is a reliable and credible ally to the US. It's not necessarily known by everybody that we have 36,000 people abroad, so broadly out of France, so broadly 10% of our military total army engaged in foreign operation, which makes almost the same proportion than the US Army. So for us, it's a hard effort, although it's obviously much smaller, 10 times smaller, probably, or 5 times smaller. I don't know exactly the proportion between our two armies. Much smaller anyway. But nevertheless, proportionally, it's also a big effort, which means that France takes seriously also its international commitments and its duties to take its share of international security and the fight for democracy against terrorism and for many other causes which unite us. We are there in Kosovo, we are there in Ivory Coast, we are there in Lebanon, we are there in Afghanistan, and in other places also in more reduced numbers, where in Bosnia, where we have worked and we still work together with American militaries, and we are always proud to be quite operational with them, although it's not necessarily so highlighted every day, because we are obviously a smaller country and with a smaller proportionally kind of interventions. Apart from the military or political military issues, there's also some elements which are not known about the French-US relations, which are economy. It's not known, but if you take the 5 last years, you could argue that the United States has been very successful in France, and that the Franco-American links have developed because France, in the last 5 years, is the country who, after United Kingdom, has invested more here than any other country, more than Germany, more than Japan, more than Italy, more than obviously China, much more. I understand that the whole Chinese investment in US is approximately of the size of the French investment in one of the big states in the United States. Just to tell you that the density of exchanges, monetary, financial, in goods, in trades, and in men, is extremely high, is at one of the highest points in history, in the French-American history of relationship. You should know that, because sometimes the disagreement we can have on one issue, such as Iraq, for example, as we had some years ago, can overshadow that, and the hard facts are a bit forgotten. But we are here just especially to recall this hard fact. And in the cultural thing, and to finish also on economic, for example, it's not also very known, but more than 800,000 jobs are jobs in the West, which are jobs of firms and enterprises and companies who are French-owned. So, French is also contributing in this way, at his level, but maybe slightly above its level also, to the jobs employment here in the United States. And you know that the US are also one of our main employers and main investors in France. But on cultural field also, there are a lot of things in common, more than you know. Obviously, we do criticize very much the McDonald's food, but nevertheless, I can tell you that my kids